everybody, and welcome to our summer block party. But we're not doing it just anywhere this year. No, sir. We're doing it very special, coming to you from our Italian holiday. Inasmuch as for the entire month of August, we are going to be watching Italian movies. It's too hot to travel. In fact, I had a whole thing set up here, getting ready to record. I had a cool summer hat I was going to put on and wear, and like 10 seconds into mic check, absolutely not. So you're just gonna I guess I'm just gonna deal with the sunburn of the hot Tuscan sun burning down upon me, because that's right, we're gonna be talking about some wild and weird Italian horror films. You're saying, Jason, this is August. Hey baby, if I'm gonna talk about Italian films, we're talking about Italian horror, and we are covering some wild, some weird, and kind of off the beaten path Italian horror films. So buckle up, because this first week we are talking about a movie that is so much wilder than anybody in the movie would let you believe. We are talking about 1989's The Church. This movie is directed by Michele Soavi. He was the protege of Mr. Dario Argento, who we'll talk about later in this month. We'll also talk about another wild Michele Soavi movie much later in the month. But we're starting with The Church. This is directed by him. It's written by Dario Argento and 8 other credited writers. This actually started off as basically a third entry in the Demons franchise. Demons 1, Demons 2. This was going to be Demons 3. And once Lamberto Bava couldn't come back to direct, Michele Soavi stepped in and was like, I don't want to do a franchise movie. I want to take this and kind of make it something on its own. So he and Dario Argento did that. And what we have is this wild, weird... You know me, I love my Catholic magic. Also, we're in Rome. We're like this close to the Pope. So Catholic magic is big time here. Mixed with like wild, insane Lovecraft. I was 100% down for it. This movie stars Tomas Arana. And yes, this is going to be a whole month of me just butchering these names. But you have him. You have a classic... horror. If you know Italian horror, you know this name, Giovanni Lamberto Ribisi. If you've seen Italian horror movies, you've seen him die hundreds of ways. Hannibal Ferox, House by the Cemetery, Rats, Something of Terror, just a ton of them. Also, a very, very young Asia Argento. Got that one. Who we'll also talk about next week in a more prominent role. In this movie, she is 12. And it is about a gentleman played by Tomas. He is a librarian who is hired to go to this church that's being restored and carry over their books, recopy them. Because you need a librarian to write. And while they're also doing some remodeling, some painting. He meets this woman who he instantly wants to hook up with. Asia Argento's running around. She's a daughter of the parishioners, the groundskeeper. But you come to find out that this church, which the movie opens with the backstory, and I gotta tell you, the music is done by a band you'll hear a lot about. And if you're into horror movies, especially ones of this nature, Goblin is where it's at. They've done movies. They did the music for this. They did the music for the Italian version of Dawn of the Dead. Basically, if it's a giallo, if it's anything Italian horror related, Goblin did the music for it. But it's them, as well as Keith Emerson, from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, who is the famous keyboardist. And this movie opens with like Templar Knights, uh, like just mowing down this whole village with like this Super Nintendo music that I can best describe. It's like the wave race music. Or like F-Zero. But there are these amazing shots because they are you see all the soldiers are wearing like the big kind of helmets with the cross. And so you're seeing like cross POV. The movie starts with absolute chaos. We like wipe out this whole village. We're just Nixon people left and right. There's a wild little somebody with a basket on their face, running around and hiding. We fill this giant pit full of the townspeople. We're salting and blessing the ground. And then the dead start to rise. Like they do. And so they quickly cover it up and place a giant stone cross there. And they say they're going to consecrate the ground by building a church over the top of it to keep all this evil at bay. Because one of the people they believe was a witch. Again, like you do. She was a lady, so. And that's where we are. The church. This church is built on this giant mass grave. Guy goes a digging. They're always digging around where they shouldn't be. And oopsie-doodle. We find the cross on the floor. It opens up. And then it essentially kind of becomes the Evil Dead for a while inside of a church. So imagine like Evil Dead Rise, but taking place in this like Italian big Catholic church. Now they filmed the movie in Budapest because no church in Italy was like, get out of here. And if you watch any of the special features the interviews where they talk about the movie, they filmed it in Budapest in a real church. And let me tell you, it's absolutely beautiful. It's this beautiful, beautiful ancient church. Absolutely stunning to look at, especially because we're doing most of the movie there. So it's absolutely stunning to see that it's actually there. They've built, it's an actual church. Every morning when they started filming, before they could film, a priest had to come in and deconsecrate it so they could film the movie and film all the crazy, messed up stuff we're going to get to. And then when they were done filming for the day, he would come back in and reconsecrate it to keep it holy, when they were off hours. Yeah, and that's kind of the movie. Like, he gets possessed, and then for one reason or another, the movie starts building to this huge, insane climax where there's a wedding party and a group of school children, and then the priests that are there, one of them being Father Giovanni, who, unfortunately for this movie, spoilers for this movie, is the only death that's off screen. And you're like, oh, maybe that was like to kind of like get you, because like, oh, you always see him die in movies. And then all hell breaks loose. We are trapped in the church. We cannot get out. What is under is coming. There's a giant goat-faced demon looking to score. And one by one, different people are possessed and are taking other people out. There's this kooky old couple, this old lady who won't stop saying groovy. Which is awesome until she has a turn when you find out she's possessed, and whoo, it's not YouTube friendly. And yeah, then it's about this priest, this American priest, honestly trying to with Asia escape, because she knows the secret path out of the church, because her dad's real uptight about her going out. She's too young. And when we see her, she's like out smoking and drinking, like dancing in discos, and you're like, hey, 12-year-old, why don't you go home? Hey, 20-year-old man, quit dancing with that kid. But so he's trying to help her, but also realize that he's having to stop the evil. And then when the third act happened, my God, the imagery in this movie is insane. There are some wild deaths. there is a, for lack of a better word, creature that ascends toward the end that is utterly, it's the epitome of Lovecraftian. Like, you just look at it and you don't know what you're looking at. It's just insanity, pure insanity put on film. And I absolutely cannot recommend this movie enough. There is a weird part about the movie, though, and it was the part that kept sticking with me, it kept making me laugh, is that their reaction to what is happening around them is very mute. So, like, say, you see a giant winged man, a devil man, like holding a naked lady, and he's like has his wings wrapped around her, and then you see that in real, like down a few pews from you, and you're like, oh man, like, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, let's react to what we're seeing. I guess, you work in a church all the time, you're kind of into that stuff, but no, all in all, I had a lot of fun with this movie. And again, it's very, a lot of the fun at the beginning was more of just dealing with their reactions to things that are happening around them. But it's a really fun movie. It looks absolutely great. And so what I'm going to do different in this summer block party month of videos is something I'm looking at doing maybe full time. We'll see, maybe on a separate show. I don't know, but right now we're doing here because what better time than when you go on vacation? What do? Well, you do whatever but you bring back souvenirs. So, hey guys, it's souvenir time. So what I want to talk about is how I watched this movie. You can watch it. I believe it's streaming on Prime off and on. It may be on Shudder as we speak. Again, I cannot, not a sponsor. I cannot sing the praises of Shudder enough if you're into horror. I watched it on the 7 Films 4K that came out earlier this year. It's an absolute beautiful set that they did with the original artwork here. It's got the movie on 4K. It's got the movie on Blu-ray. It also comes with the soundtrack. So if you want to relive playing Wave Race while driving in your car, you can through the soundtrack. It also has a beautiful haunting. I mean, that's the opening score, but there's also like some really ethereal, chanty type music. Beautiful score. Again, even if you're not into Italian horror, you have to love Italian horror movie scores because Goblin is just like the king. They're the John Williams. They're the Hans Zimmer of Italian horror movies. So this is available, I believe, at 7. You can also get it at Amazon. Maybe not with the slip anymore, if you're into that sort of thing. But I recommend it. Like I said, each month we'll be doing each episode, each part of the vacation we'll do a souvenir. And so check out the 4K version of The Church. So that's going to wrap up this leg of the vacation. But fear not. Next week, we are going to be talking about a movie. The best I can say is when you're on vacation, maybe in a foreign land, of course, we all want to do the thing where we go eat where the locals eat. We go eat at the little dive, hole in the wall restaurant that nobody knows about. But sometimes when you're on an Italian vacation, such as I am at the moment, you want McDonald's. And so that's your clue for next week. It's a terrible clue, so don't bother guessing. But do bother clicking that like button and subscribing. Because we're doing this all month long. It's gonna be fun. It's too hot outside. Especially here where I live in Western Oklahoma. Way too hot. So stay indoors, turn the lights down, and watch some fun Italian horror movies. You're gonna have a blast. This is a fun one to start with. Next week is one I'm gonna be very curious to see how it is reacted to. But also react to this one in the comments. And let me know if you have this version of the movie. If you do, what do you think about it? And we can also talk physical media, guys. Because that's not only are we reviewing movies, I'm a huge physical media guy, as you can see by all this stuff behind me. That's the bane of my wife's pocketbook, as she says. She does it. She's fine. But until then, make sure you put your money in your shoe. Don't put your wallet in your back pocket, and get those traveler's checks ready, because we are going to have an absolute blast this month for our Italian vacation summer block party. And I will see you guys next week. Ciao.